Hi there, I'm Dr. Liz Carter, and today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about SAD, or seasonal affective disorder. Seasonal affective disorder affects about 6% of the US adult population each year, and then about 14% are affected by a little bit milder form of seasonal affective disorder, where it's not completely a diagnosable disorder, but people are susceptible to seasonal mood swings. So seasonal affective disorder is characterized as a type of major depression. So it comes along with similar symptoms where there's apathy, listlessness, lack of appetite, sleep disturbance where you're either sleeping too much or too little, mood swings, and a general kind of sense of fatigue and sadness. So it's a lot of the population to be affected by this disorder every year. It usually comes on in the fall or when the light gets a little bit less, and people kind of start to notice their mood getting lower. So what's been interesting, I've been doing a little bit of research about this myself, and I came across this article that I found was really great, and I wanted to share it with you guys about, it was done by a Stanford psychologist who actually moved to a tiny city in Norway called Tromsø, which is 200 miles north of the Arctic Circle. So it's up there, and they have 2 months per year of polar night, which a polar night means that the sun never comes up. You just have the northern lights. So then in the summer they have the midnight sun, where the sun never goes down. So they have a really extreme version of winter, and of course summer as well. And she was investigating the amount of seasonal affective disorder that happened over there. And she found that it was really significantly less than here in America, which was super, super interesting because they have a much more extreme winter than we do. So in her research, she found that it was a lot about mindset for people. It's how they looked at winter. Here in the States, I think, and I'm in Seattle currently, we tend to look at that fall and winter time as really difficult for all of us to adapt to, and especially here with the much shorter days in the fall and winter. We kind of grumble about the lack of light, and we don't have as much energy and time to do things, that type of thing. Where in Norway, there's apparently a saying that she discovered where there is no bad weather, there's only bad clothes, which I think is it's a fabulous kind of summary of how they look at the season, right? They kind of take the winter in stride, and they look for the positive in the situation. So their mindset about the weather is really great and uplifting. And there's another concept in there that's kind of rolled in. The Norwegians have their own word for it, and then the Danish also have their own word. And the Danish word is pronounced huga. And it's roughly translated to this sense of comfort and coziness, warmth, kinship. The best way to think about it is, wearing a cozy sweater, sitting by the fire, petting a cat where one is meowing off to the side here, Max. Or spending time with friends, or that kind of cozy feeling you get with Christmas lights on in the background, and drinking a cup of tea. So this is ingrained in their culture, and they really look forward to those times of year where they get to embrace this feeling. And you can see with the contrast of kind of the dark and the cold outside, it actually makes this coziness possible inside. So I think that looking at that mindset piece is really important if you suffer from seasonal mood swings or even seasonal affective disorder, to look at, how are you lining up, right? Are you looking at winter as this really negative kind of overpowering force in your life, or are you looking at the positive aspects of it, and it really does increase this closeness and kinship and gatherings, as well as some wonderful kind of alone time that does have this sense of coziness and meaning. So that's a worthwhile pursuit, to kind of check in with yourself and see if you can shift that mindset at all, and try to find the positive in these shorter days. From a Chinese medicine perspective, which I love to talk about, fall and winter are really this time of decrease and restoration, really coming back to yourself after this extreme output of spring spring and summer, it does require reflection and downtime and processing, which is really hard work, you know, if we're sitting alone with ourselves rather than being active and engaged outward. We have to be engaged with our inward self. So it's a really fabulous time for personal growth and reflection, but it does take some effort and work that way. I always like to recommend people journal, so if that calls to you at all, or any form of creativity, to get these emotions and expressions out, right? Especially with seasonal depression, where there is an apathy or resignation that feels like it is happening. The more you can express and get those emotions moving forward and out of your system, the better. Once they're out, they're not irritating you anymore, and you can move on to the next thing. And then I just wanted to touch a little bit on the physiology of seasonal affective disorder, right? A lot of the times it is caused partially by our melatonin not burning off. So melatonin is produced, it's what makes us sleepy at night, helps us go to bed, stay asleep, and then it's supposed to burn off right after we wake up in the morning. And that doesn't often happen if we're kind of waking up to these later times, the sun's coming up later, or it's a very gray and foggy day. So looking into getting a seasonal affective disorder lamp could be wonderful. It's a game changer for a lot of people. They're very affordable nowadays. There are a lot of great options available on Amazon for about $50 to $70. The most important thing you look for if you're looking for one of those lamps is to make sure it says 10,000 lux on the package. That's the therapeutic dose of this full spectrum light that you'll get. And the important thing is to just kind of set it on a desk in front of your computer, or when you wake up in the morning, and just sit there and really bathe in it for about 15 to 20 minutes. It will stimulate the brain to kind of digest and absorb that melatonin, break it down, get it out of your system, and you'll feel a lot more activated and refreshed. Some people also keep it on during the day at their desk at work to kind of keep their mood up, especially if they don't have any windows, or it's hard to really be engaged with what time of day it is outside. I would just recommend not using it in the evening, of course, because we actually do need our melatonin to build up to be able to get an appropriate amount of sleep that way. So the SAD lamps are really, really helpful, and then also looking at that mindset and getting some creative expression going can be extremely useful in kicking those winter blues. So I hope this video has been helpful. I'll put a couple links to my resources here in the bottom of the video here, where you can find a link to a lamp that I like, and then also a couple of the articles about Tromsø, and then the Danish concept of hygge. They are the happiest people in the world, so I think we could take a couple ideas from their culture and maybe try to bring it on over here. Okay, thanks so much for watching. Take care. Hey, Dr. Liz here. Just wanted to give you guys a little behind the scenes of the setup today. You never know what goes into a shot until you have to set it up. This is my awesome iPod iPhone tripod. So iPod works. Nice mashup. My awesome book to weight down this box so the camera is at the right angle. Max Cat in the background providing the awesome meows. And then we'll just flip you around here. So here's my fireplace, which is lovely, and I am seated on a lovely cat bed. So, you know, lots of fun today for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it.